I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Manchester. David Higgins is no stranger to Manchester. It's good to be speaking to you in person and not in Zoom. That's silly o'clock for me and it's kind of silly o'clock for you.
Yeah, it's great to be here and good to see you in person.
Absolutely, yeah. Huge week for your guy, Joseph Parker. Again, no stranger to a big fight, but he said before that he believes this is a tougher test than Anthony Joshua. Do you go along with that?
You know, at this stage I probably would. Joshua had a few chinks in his armour and we didn't quite get there on the night, but Joseph's a much more rounded fighter now. He's found his feet, so to speak, but Joyce, he brings a lot of pressure. Everyone avoids him. He's big, he's strong, he's the George Foreman of our era, if you like. So I think in our camp see this as a fork in the road fight for Joseph Parker.
David, of course, we are here. The fight is a few days away, but it took a long, long while to get this deal over the line. We've heard from Frank Warren, we've heard from Joseph himself, now Ben Shalom, his promoter, of course, but haven't had a chance to speak to you about it since the whole fallout happened. Yeah. In your opinion, why has it taken so long to get this fight on?
They kept changing the deal. Shifting sands. Before Parker Chisora 2, that's when our negotiation started, and they were quite happy to fight Parker with no rematch clause. Obviously they thought Parker didn't have a chance. Then they saw the way Parker dominated Chisora, dropped him with uppercuts. Suddenly they said, we won't do it without a rematch clause. And then it was just one of those negotiations, because it's a 50-50 fight arguably, and credit to both guys for taking it. A lot of those fights avoided, but due to that there are a lot of difficulties and it just dragged on and on and on, and several times we thought it had fallen over, but we got there in the end, and we got there in a roundabout way where Joseph signed with Boxer and Boxer have done a deal with Queensbury. But you know what, the fans want to see the best matchups, and number 1 Joyce versus number 2 Parker is a proper heavyweight worldwide matchup. So pleased we got there.
Are things amicable between both camps now?
Well, I don't know. We're not really speaking much. I think amicable is a strong word.
All right, so tomorrow at the press conference should be interesting then.
Yeah, who knows? I think there'll be a bit of angst on all sides, but none of that matters other than the win. It's winning the fight is what matters. All that other talk is just noise.
Why does Joseph Parker beat Joe Joyce?
I think you could call Parker almost a veteran now. He's been around a long time. I still think of him as that young kid I signed up 10 years ago, but Parker's now been in multiple 12-round wars. He 12 rounds with Carlos Takam, 12 rounds with Andy Ruiz Jr., won those fights, 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, 12 rounds with Derek Chisora twice. That's great experience to the end against big names. I don't think you can say the same about Joe Joyce. He hasn't had that level of experience, especially in the late rounds. Parker's a lot quicker, obviously. I think more well-rounded. Then again, Joyce, he's very big, strong, height, reach. The engine, the pressure he puts on. I think Chisora was perfect preparation, because Chisora kind of puts pressure on and walks forward, and Joseph overcame Chisora twice. So I think both guys have their pluses, and it'll be a very interesting matchup.
We know the WBO interim title's on the line for Joyce and Parker this Saturday. So, of course, if your guy Parker wins, there'll be a rematch on Sky Sports box office. But it's important that WBO interim title was on the line for this fight, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, adds kudos. At the end of the day, winning is what matters. Like, if you lose, the titles mean nothing, really. But I think adding that interim title adds kudos to it, if you like. And I guess it's like being the Deputy Prime Minister. The interim title holder would step in if the title holder retired or whatever. So it's not meaningless. And, it's a big opportunity for both guys.
Then what is the plan? In your opinion, when Joseph comes through these 2 fights against Joe Joyce, the next fight has to be a world title shot, whoever holds that, whether it's Alexander Usyk or maybe even his best mate Tyson Fury. It's got to be that shot at the WBO title, whoever's holding it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just take it as it comes. The rematch that everyone's talking about, we don't see it as a bad thing. At Joseph Parker's level, when you've beaten Chisora the way you did, it's actually quite hard to make fights. Like, guys don't want to fight you. They want huge money, and so you can easily go 8 months without getting a fight. So the beauty of this rematch clause is there's another guaranteed big money fight that pays more quickly in only, 3 months' time or whatever. And so unless you're going to get a world title fight straight away, Joseph wants to be busy. He wants to fight big occasion fights for good money. And so that rematch clause pretty much guarantees another big fight for good money. And as long as you're winning, it's not a problem. So there is a positive side to it. That being said, we're only doing it because Joyce would not have taken the fight without the rematch. Parker was willing to put it all on the line, one-off fight, winner take all, but their side would only do it with a rematch, which to me is a bit mentally weak. It's a bit like Anthony Joshua against Usyk. Like, that didn't serve him that well. Usyk just backed up and did the business again. And if Parker beats Joyce first time, he'd potentially have to do it again. That being said, often there's rematch clauses and the rematch doesn't happen because Joyce might not want a rematch, or whatever, step aside money. There's all for the rematch to happen. Both guys have to want the rematch, and so yeah, we'll see.
Just to respond to that, I know you said it's mentally weak to put a rematch clause in there, but I think they're just protecting Joe as he is number one with the WBO. Would you not say that's smart business? Would you not do that for your client?
Well, yeah, it's insurance, but he shouldn't be number one. Parker should have been made number... Yeah, when they made Joyce number one, it's, arguable if you look at the resume. Parker, former world champion, I think he had multiple wins at the time, and Joyce had been inactive, so they probably should have made Parker number one, so we don't really give that any credence. It's just politics that Joyce number. We certainly don't. Both guys are really high quality boxers, taking nothing away from Joe Joyce, but we certainly don't see him as more eminent because of that number one with the sanctioning body.
Okay, and just the final one. Whatever happens this Saturday night, we know he's done a deal with Sky Sports and Boxer. So are we going to see Joseph's career based in the UK, or could he go back to New Zealand, potentially box in Australia? What's the plan for Joseph Parker?
Yeah, just same as always. The fights happen where the best opportunity is the best money. Doesn't really matter who's promoting. If the best opportunities in New Zealand, then I'm sure we'd work with Boxer, put the fight on there. But I think most likely the UK is kind of where it's at the moment, and Sky is a big platform, and I think if I was betting, it's more likely that Parker will fight here, and he wants to fight as often as possible. He's disappointed having to wait 8 or 9 months for this fight to eventuate. He would have done it back in May or June, but here we are, and Joseph, we think he'll win, and he's keen to back up and fight again in December.
And nice benefit having the best heavyweight in the world in camp with you.
Yeah, that's been wonderful, and it's made it like a second home. So for Joseph, this is like fighting at home. It's not like going into enemy territory at all.
Are you in enemy territory?
Well, they might think so, but I love everyone. I've never had a fight in my life.
David Higgins, thank you very much for your time, and no doubt we'll catch up again in the week.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, mate.
All right.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. You coming out?
One hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.